Alright, welcome back everyone. I'm your friend Insexo and today I'm going to read a book for you. Yeah, it's another learning video. The title for this book is called Own Your Tech Career, Soft Skills for Technologies. Why we need to own our tech career? Because that's our life, buddy. If you do not care about your life, who cares about you? Alright, this graph tells us how to make a decision. At the beginning, a decision is needed. Then what should we do? Agree that this is the right thing to do. Input. This is something to consider as we decide. And recommend. This is what we should do. After we got that idea about how we should do it, then we'll do it. But that's not important. Let's just get into the manual of this book. Maybe we could get something from those titles of different chapters. Introduction. We all know what it does. Own your career. Of course, we have to control our career. Build and maintain your brand. You have to try to build your own personality to the whole world. You have to show the world who are you and what you are capable of doing. Once everyone in this world knows you probably already been successful at that time. And the networking. Well, I actually do not know the meaning of the network, but I guess it's just means the relationships between different people. I know, let's get into it. Alright, I was correct about the assumption. In our always connected world, it's sometimes easy to lose track of the value of direct human interaction. But that interaction networking, in other words, is one of the most valuable aspects of any career, and it's a critical soft skill to master and maintain. So why networking? Networking is the process of getting to know other people in your field. Well, getting to know those people in your field. If you want to stay on your field, you of course need to know a lot of people. And what's benefit you would get? For example, when you somehow lose your job, you can always find your friend and say that you need a new job, and they will recommend you or introduce you to a new company that they are working on. So I'll share a sad fact from recent experience. You can upload your resume to as many online job postings as you want, and you are likely to hear back from only a tiny fraction of them, no matter how well qualified you are. Even with the best resume, then it's hard for the artificial intelligence algorithms that take a first pass on all applicants. The odds that a human being will ever see your information are slim. Many online job postings get thousands of applications, too many for anyone to stand out easily. So what they are trying to say is that it's very hard for you to get a job by only sending your resume to those job finding market service or website. It's very hard for you to do that. But as I said, if you have your own network, you can always try to ask your friend to help you to find a new job, and that was easy. Alright, let's go on. Be part of a technical community. Again, it's probably a way to show yourself to the whole world because you are one of your community. You are one people of your community, and if you are good about it, your community will thank you as a leader for the community or for that kind of technology. And with that process in mind, you are more likely to get to know more people that will help you to build your network. And the next chapter is keep your tech skills fresh and relevant. Well, this is definitely very important. After all, at the end, no matter how good you are at the network building, you will have to do the code yourself, right? Because that's why your company want you to be in their company, right? Because you can write some code to fulfill their needs or their customers' needs. So that's very important for you to update your skills constantly. And the next chapter is show up as a professional. Well, in other words, you have to be an expert in your domain. Well, why? Because I guess almost every people in this world have the chance to learn how to code, and probably they'll be also okay at the programming, but not all of them could be an expert in the programming. So if you are an expert, you could solve some very, very hard problem, and that's the value of you. And the 7th chapter is manage your time. Why? For my answer, it is your time is limited. You have a limited lifetime, probably 100 years. So you have to cherish your time because it cannot be extended. But anyway, let's get into it. Many technology professionals struggle with time management. Sometimes our time is taken from us in the form of meetings and other obligations, but most of us can also do a better job of managing the time that is left to us. And learning to master our time is a mission critical skill for a successful career. For sure, if you you do the meeting all the days, what kind of time you could use to do the real coding, right? So here are some points. I'll probably read along for a little bit because I personally do not know what time management is. I first want to briefly make some distinctions between procrastination and a behavior that is often confused with laziness. In my view, procrastination, well, I don't know the meaning of this word. Alright, that's another word for this word is delay. So the delay is the spiritual opposite of discipline. So let's start with my simple definition of discipline. Discipline, remembering why you started doing something in the first place. Okay, when I talk to people about why they delay doing some tasks but jump right into doing others, their explanations usually boils down to something like, I just didn't feel like doing it right then, and I understand this. I'm a writer and sometimes I am very much not in the mood for writing. I'm rarely in the mood for reviewing edits. So it's easy to put off doing these tasks. In other words, to procrastinate or to delay working on a project or finishing a task. Am I being lazy? Maybe. But then I remember why I started writing the book in the first place. I had a goal and I had outcomes I expected to achieve. Green, fortune, global recognition. You know, the usual things. Green, and I still want those things, so I need to get it done. Perhaps this understanding of discipline struggles a good definition of laziness. What is that? Laziness. Okay, forgetting or not knowing why you started doing something in the first place. I have definitely had projects that I put off, and putting them off made me feel bad. Yeah, I feel so. So I felt bad about the whole project, so I put it off even further. And eventually I sat down and realized I didn't have a good reason to be doing the project. I could not see how it fed into my life or career, and I could not identify what outcomes it was helping me achieve. In those cases, I dropped the project instead of putting it off further. If I couldn't explain to myself why I was doing it and what value it brought me, why bother struggling over it? I admitted that maybe it didn't need doing, cut my losses and move on. You do need to be a little careful about jumping to conclusions in that regard, so don't write something off because you are not in the mood for it right now. Instead, set yourself down in front of a mirror, look carefully into your eyes and ask yourself, why did I start doing this in the first place? What did I hope to achieve by it? Answer yourself and then ask whether your reasons are still valid. So for the other, I think the discipline and the laziness are two different things. So what discipline is? Remembering why you started doing that at the first place. If you know that you are still want to do that, so you keep going, so that's how they call it discipline. And another case, the laziness. When you think that, well, at the beginning you want to do this because you want to do something, right? And then later when you come back, you think, oh, maybe it's not worth for me to do that stuff at the beginning, so I have no reason to do it anymore. This is the laziness, the other thing. So back to the time management. How can we do that? I wrote a bit about time management in chapter 6 because I have come to realize that it's being an effective time manager is a key behavior of almost any effective professional. In this section, I want to be a bit more prescriptive and give you some specific behaviors to watch out for and some specific actions to consider taking. Time is obviously a finite resource, and being able to manage it effectively is an absolutely critical career skill. So let's start by looking into a few universal technologies that could help us become a better time manager in almost any professional solution or situations. So the first one is time inventory. What is that? The time flap technique. Successfully managing any resource begins with understanding what you already have. In this case, I do not mean the amount of time you have, but how you already spend your time. To keep track of how I spend my time, I use a time flap device. Well, that's a device. Although you could easily do the same thing with a simple journal or a software application. I like having a physical device to use. Okay, that's you. I would prefer a software to use. You label each side of the time slot with the various activities you normally perform during the day. Coding, killing time on Twitter, going to meetings, getting interrupted by someone, tapping on your shoulder, whatever. A company software app runs on your computer. Whenever you switch activities, you quickly flip the time flat so that whatever activity you are now performing is at the top. You do this all day, every day. I did it for a couple of weeks before I looked at the results. I got something like this figure. Alright, email, meeting, writing, Twitter, email, meeting, so there has no coding out there. Alright, so what's the point of this? I don't think it's useful. But I guess what you could do is to make a table and write down what you would do in that day or every day. Then you do some changes about it. Then you perform the change the table every day. Okay, another one is called the Pomodoro technique. What is that?
番茄钟
Alright, Pomodoro. I guess that's how we read it. This kind of thing work in 20-minute chunks of time, which are called Pomodoro's, separated by 5-minute breaks. The idea behind this approach is you can get a lot of work done in short but focused intervals, and frequent short breaks keeps you from mental and physical unhealthy stuff. I will adjust my chunk size depending on the nature of my work at the time. I have used 25 minutes Pomodoros, 55-minute ones, and other intervals that better match the nature of what I am up to. Alright, that's another method we could use. Time catalog, knowing your capabilities. Multitasking, do you multitask well? For the sake of argument, say out loud, yeah, I multitask pretty well. No, I don't. Actually, I always do things in a single line. That's probably reason why I do things quite slow, because I often have to wait to others to solve bugs or something like that. I must say, this is pretty hard, skill to master. How can you do multiple things at the same time? It's almost impossible, as I think. Oh, I get it. And then let me read this paragraph here. Recognize when it's time to put yourself in single task mode, such as when you are coding, writing something, or working on something else that needs your full attention for a long period. Do what you can to reduce distractions that will take you off task. If you work in an office, try to come up with an agreed up signal, which is a signal for other colleagues in your company, such as, if I'm wearing headphones, please leave me alone. Shut down your email app, Slack, and other electronic distractions. When it's time to be in multitasking mode, don't dive into works that will require your attention for more than a few minutes. Instead, take care of numerous tasks that you can get done quickly. Take notes if needed to help you remember where you were in each of the tasks you are juggling, and keep a list of any action items that you are responsible of handling. But don't mix modes. If you get into single task mode, but the realities of work demand your attention, put your single task work away and borrow the necessities of working in multitasking mode for that time. Come back to your single task work when you can safely block off sufficient time. So let me do a conclusion of what he did. So at the beginning, you had to split yourself into two modes, the single task mode and the multitasking mode. For the single task mode, it must be some tasks that requires your full attention and thinking. If so, you put it into a single task mode, and it requires definitely a lot of time for finish even a single task. But for the multitasking mode, it is kind of different. For now, you have to do those stuffs or those tasks that you could quickly finish. You do a lot of such tasks all at the same time, and you switch yourself between the two modes. Okay, that's kind of cool. I didn't think that I could do that according to my previous experience. I probably for the whole day I just have one mission to fulfill a need or write a single page or something like that. Alright, let's get into the next one. Handle remote work. How can we handle remote work? As we have all learned, the chances of anyone in tech eventually having to work remotely, even part-time, are non-zero. Remote working can be challenging, but it's definitely a skill you can build. And because there's always the possibilities of it being something you need for your career, why not plan for it and start building the skill now? To be honest, I definitely love the concept of remote working because I think that's the best working mode that we could get in the tech area. The challenges of being remote. If you're not used to working remotely and haven't developed a system for doing so effectively, know that remote working whether full-time or occasionally, can definitely be hard on your work and on your career. Frankly, it can also be emotionally trying. It becomes easy, for example, to lose sight of the yellow line that delineates your personal self from your professional self. Well, I know what he said is that it's very hard. Sometimes if you do remote work, you cannot separate yourself from your own life and the work for the company. Yeah, I agree. So when you are working from home, it's a lot harder to create a firm line between work life and home life, which sometimes make it difficult to put on your office face and show up with all the professionalism you know you should. It can also be easy to work too much. I have worked from home for years, and I sometimes run into folks who think it sounds great until I reverse it as I sleep at the office. I have learned to maintain that work-life balance by using the time management techniques I discussed in Chapter 7. Additionally, remote working can feel isolating, potentially making you unhappy if you normally stew on daily office interactions. No, I'm not that kind of guy. I think the office life it's probably not a good idea. There are no breakthrough conversations, no random hallway encounters with fellow employees, and no opportunities to run across people outside your team. If the majority of your colleagues are in the office and you are remote, it becomes easy to be left out and to feel left out even when you aren't. No, I don't feel that's a problem. As long as you are doing your work, I think you are still one of them. You're not alone. So when you're not visibly present at the office every day, you may feel that you are being passed over for promotions, choose projects, and other internal opportunities. No, I don't get it. Okay, so that's enough. So let's say what he want to say is, no, I don't care about this. I think the remote job is fine. Alright, let's get into the next one. Be a team player. What? Be a team player. So what is that? Can't you just let me write code and leave me alone? Well, that's a typical sentence that I would say to my colleagues, or I want to say, but I never say that. It's a question I have asked more than once, along with let me run the servers, let me build the DevOps pipeline, and the related warranties. And it's a question whose answer is invariably no. Teamwork is an integral part of getting things done in tech, and your ability to be an effective, positive teammate is probably one of the top skills any employer looks for. Alright, that's something that I probably don't have or didn't do well. Alright, the ups and downs of teams. I will freely admit now that I'm a bit older, and it's in my past that I haven't always been a great team player. If you have seen the Big Bang Theory on TV, I'm Sheldon Cooper in far too many ways. You might be a more natural team player, and some of the advice in this chapter may seem somewhat obvious to you, but if you are like me, the tips I will present are things that you have to actively focus on every day and put real effort and energy into if you want to be successful in a team. So one of my weaknesses stems from a strength. I'm a get things done worker. Point me at a problem, get out of my way, and be prepared to burn the bodies I leave in my wake. In meetings, I will state my views clearly, and I am often the first one to speak up. That's the strength. But then, I will then defend those views to the death, convinced that my way is the best way to go. And I want everyone on my team to be my set and to really to be a follower for my ideas. So in other words, I do not accept other ideas. I think they are bullshit. My thinking is the best. No, I'm just kidding. I am really not like that anymore. So let me repeat it again. I am really not like that anymore. But when I was younger, I was probably a bit of a jerk. Oh, this is a bad word. You are a jerk. That's a bad word. You shouldn't say that to people. It took me several years of working as an independent constructor. I literally was the team to realize how much more a functional, effective team can accomplish than any individual can do on their own. I have always been a less sensitive, and it's pretty easy to hurt my feelings, but it took me a long time to realize that other people can be just as sensitive and have their own feelings as me. So that realization was the beginning of my being a better teammate, and I would like to think that at this point in my life, I'm a lot better at it. Great teams can accomplish amazing things in technique. I have worked with teams that created world-class certifications qualification exams, designed and delivered amazing software products, and produced groundbreaking community events and charitable outcomes. But being on a team means you sometimes have to moderate parts of yourself. You can't be afraid to speak up when you have something valuable to offer, but you can do so in a way that supports other people's opportunity to contribute. You have to bring your ideas and experience, but you have to offer them, not impose them. You have to acknowledge that even if you are absolutely sure your way is the best, it might not be the best way for the team to process. Okay, so let me repeat that paragraph again. So you may think you are the best. You may think that your method is the best for the solution as a solution, but your teammates may not think so. So you have to do some work to let your teammate believe you have a better solution, or you can somehow try to get a middle solution so that everyone in your team accepts it. Alright, so we cannot be a Superman anymore. Teams are made up of people, of course, and people can be both a joy and a tree. We all bring baggages, both good and bad, to our teams, or bases, or experiences, or failures, or preferences, or successes, or prejudices, and more. What we bring often conflicts with what our colleagues bring, and conflict is where teamwork can become really challenging. But properly understood and managed, conflicts can also be where inspiration and innovation come from. The best teams don't try to suppress or avoid conflict. They embrace it and use it in a healthy way. Well, it reminds me something. Some country, for example, the China, they are intended to ignore the teamwork. They just want to have someone to controls everything, as the one who sends the order. But in other countries, they are more likely to have a team. They just want to do things by using the intelligence of the whole team members. That's too kind of even a way for country management. Alright, a checklist for being a better team player. So here's probably the points that we could learn to be able to be a better team player. Here's my daily checklist for being a better teammate. Know why I am here. I make sure that every day I am reminding myself what the team's mission is and what my role is on the team. Role is hugely important. I need to respect the fact that my role owns certain tasks or responsibilities, just as other teammates' roles own specific responsibilities. I can make suggestions to team members in other roles and accept suggestions for my role, but ultimately we all need to respect what we each were hired to do. In my role as a dev operation or something engineer, this is a career to do some automatically development for the software running or building or something like that. For example, I often have some firm opinions about programming languages. Some languages are easier to deploy through a DevOps pipeline. They have better unit testing frameworks, perhaps, or they create more self-contained packages, and I tend to like those. But although my role can offer those opinions and considerations, it's usually the software developers who get to choose their language. They need to consider the suitability of the language to the task at hand, their own ability to code and maintain, and other concerns. So long as we are all keeping the team's overall mission firmly in sight, we each need to respect the boundaries of our roles. Okay, so what he said is that we should respect others, since we are not always an expert for every domains. So we need to actually respect others' decisions because they are the experts in their domains, right? Okay. And the second point is support failure. Humans learn best by trying things, and we often fail a lot before we figure out the best way to do something. On a team, part of my personal mission is to make sure my teammates feel safe in those failures rather than assign blame. I want to help my team move right into the post-mortem where we can discuss what we did wrong and what we can learn from that mistakes. Alright, so again, everyone makes mistakes. So if your teammates made some mistake at work, don't worry, don't blame him too much. Just try to figure out what we could learn from that failure or mistakes. So that's the second point. And the third point is community respectfully. What is that? Communicate respectfully. Oh, that's a hard combination. That's an unusual combination. I didn't read that combination before. Express, don't suppress. It's important that I bring my experience and perspectives to the team. team. That's part of what I am paid to do. But it's also important for me to make room for others on the team to do the same. I need to nurture a safe environment. If someone on the team isn't communicating well, perhaps like that's a stupid idea, are a pretty clear indication that the environment isn't safe anymore. I need to speak up and bring the controversy back to a healthier pattern. So, in other words, you express yourself, thoughts, right? That's okay. That's definitely okay. But don't suppress others' thinking. Do not say others are stupid. Do not say their idea is a stupid idea. Don't do that. You just express your own idea, okay? And since you are a team, if he thinks your idea is bad, that means other people also think your idea is bad. If everyone in that room thinks that your idea is bad, there are chances that you have a bad idea. Alright, let's get into the next point. Be committed as a group. What is that? Many of the teams I have been on have had weekly or whatever meetings. For my team, they have a daily meeting, but I'm not in it, where we can update each other on our status and review our overall progress. I try to start those meetings by asking if we can quickly review our current goals and mission. It's a way to get everyone on the same page and make sure that all subsequent conversation is focused on achieving that shared mission. What is that? Be committed as a group. It's probably another way to say that the whole team should always know what they are working on and what kind of progress for each tasks they are working on. Okay, so let's get into the next one. Resolve conflicts within 48 hours. I'm a big fan of taking some cool off time if I'm angry about something one of my teammates did or said, but I won't give myself more than a couple of days before I address the conflict. Chapter whatever shares the content-seeking methodology I use to try to diffuse situations, understand my teammates better, and get conflicts out in the open and resolve. Why he say this? Well, if your team, some of your teammates are in a conflict about something, it's probably they will make no progress at that time because they have conflicts, right? So don't keep that conflicts more than 2 days. That's not worth for it. Ask for help. Well, this is another point. Showing vulnerability is important because it communicates to the rest of the team that I don't expect them to know all the things all the time. I want my teammates to feel they can ask for my help whenever they need it. So I make sure I am asking for their help as well. Even if I am asking someone to double check some code or make sure I'm thinking of everything during the server migration, I want them to know what I needed. I wanted them to know that I needed it. Well, what is that? Why we shouldn't let others know that we needed it? Well, it's probably a way to interact with people. As I said, you have others have you, right? This is kind of an interaction. And if you do not do this, your people will generally get unfamiliar with each other, and that is not helpful for the teammate work. For example, if you got some trouble and you feel like it's probably not okay to ask for others' help, then you will have wasted a lot of time on your own problems, right? That's one perspective. And another one is that when others have troubles, but they are afraid to ask questions from you, and then they are wasting a bunch of time. And in the end, the whole team will waste a lot of time on problem solving, and in the end, it makes delay of the project. Okay, so let's get into the next one. Get a letter personal. What is that? This isn't something that comes easily to me because I'm a private individual, but I try hard to share a little bit about my personal life, who my family is, what we enjoy doing in our free time, and what we might be struggling with. I want to know the scene about my teammates. All that sharing humanizes us. The less animorous we are, the more easily we can accept our faults and personality blemishes, and the more effectively we can work together. What is that? So in another word, it's not a good idea to maintain the animus feature of you. It's better, to get some humanity in your man, so that others would feel like, well, you are a human, so I would like to work with a human than a robot. That's I don't know. Maybe it's right, because since a long time ago, maybe 1,000 years ago, we would begin to work together to get food. So we are social animals. Alright, let's get into the next one. Help my teammates succeed. I spent a lot of years focused on my own success, but what I have realized is that I would rather be measured by the people I have helped success. I ask my teammates to share their definition definition of success and ask how I can help them realize that success. They almost always reciprocate, meaning that we are all helping each other's success. So in addition to accomplishing the missions of our organization, we are able to help one another accomplish our own personal missions. What is that? So despite of the whole paragraph, to be honest, I didn't actually understood what he said, but I understand this line of sentence. Help my teammates' success. There's a scene that it says that if you want to be a success man, you could help your friend to be a success man. And when all of your friends becomes successful people, then you are a success. Did I say that anything wrong? I don't think so. So let's get into the next one. Stop and listen. What is that? I was realized with an engineering mindset. When I see a problem, I live to solve it. What I have learned is that my team and I can usually create better solutions together when I stop and listen before leaping. I will ask my team to help me confirm my understanding of that problem, and we will brainstorm solutions together. Everyone on a team occasionally needs a time when they came up with the idea that solves everything. If I want people to give me those wins now and again, I need to work really hard to give them the other people as well. What is that? Stop at the lesson. So you cannot always be right. You cannot always get the optimal solution. So that case, if you stop and do a listening on your colleagues or teammates, you will probably get a better idea of how to solve your current problem. Okay, that's the one. Let's get into the next one. Follow. I'm a bit of an alpha personality, which you have probably figured out by reading this far. But on the team, I sometimes need to actively be a follower. Even on the teams where I'm the minimal leader, I sometimes need to step aside and let others take the lead. My followership skills aren't always strong, and this is an area I constantly working on. But it lets other members of my team have a chance to shine, and I find that they never disappoint. Of course, if you give them a chance, they could shine, and when they shine, they will probably feel good about you. You are a good leader, somehow like that. Okay, so let's get into the next one. Understand your purpose. I have found a lot of value in sitting down with my team once a year or whenever our team's membership changes and discussing what each of us does well, what each of us doesn't do so well, and what each of us hopes to get from working on a team. After these discussions, my teams have sometimes approached our leaders and asked for our roles to be shaped slightly because we have realized that we weren't taking best advantage of our individual strengths. Understanding my team, what each person loves about their job, where they would like to grow, how they perform to communicate, and other individual eccentricities has almost always made us more effective and happier. Of course, you have, oh my god, you know what I found? Understand your toes. This is the title of this paragraph, right? But in the end, what he was talking about is understand your teammates or your followers or something like that. So this is kind of thinking that those people who work under you are just your toes. That's alright? So anyway, you should understand those people who work under you. You have to know what they are good at or what they are not good at and put them into the best position. Okay, let's go to the next one. Be positive. Acknowledge people and their accomplishments rather than portion. Smile. Rather than tell people that you appreciate what they are doing and you hope they have a great day. See problems as opportunities and express excitement about engaging those opportunities. Embrace differences rather than seeing us right or wrong. Of course, we should embrace the differences. To be honest, I always love the differences in different people, but sometimes I will also see the different thing as right or wrong. Probably that's my bad part. Alright, show up to work every day. Show up to work every day and be the kind of person who lights up your team rather than someone who turns them off. Be positive. Alright, do the dirty work. I have always been clear with my teams that I'm not too good to do anything. I know we sometimes worry that if we take on all the dirty jobs, everyone else will let us and we will be stuck with it. If your team is doing that, it's not a healthy team. Work to fix it or move, because unhealthy teams, when I volunteer to do the jobs nobody likes, it often gets everyone in on the game and we can share the workload. What is that? Oh, okay. So as a leader, or I don't know, this is probably, it's talking about the leader. So as the leader, he's not too good to do anything, so he won't do that. that. Ask how I can help. I try to ask this of everyone on my team at least once a day. Whatever they are working on, I would like to know if I can make it easier, faster, or whatever. We have a shared mission, and I want to pull as much of that weight as I can within. So, alright, so ask what you could do for others. Alright, so can I help you with something such things? And the next point is follow the platinum rule. What is that? I don't know this word, to be honest. Come on, I still don't know that after did some search. The golden rule, of course, is treat others as you would like them to treat you. Alright, so but I have discovered that I don't love that rule. I don't really know what to do when other people tell me, hey, I really appreciate you and I hope you have a great day. But I have come to realize that they are following the golden rule and treating me like they want to be treated. So for me, the platinum rule is treat others as they would like to be treated. Well, that's kind of interesting. Treat others as they would like to be treated. Yeah, how do we know? Let's say if others play nice with you or be being polite to you, then you probably should do the same thing as a reply to others. So following that rule requires some careful observation and often requires me to let out ask people how they would like to be treated. But it's worth the effort because in the end, we learn a lot more about how to be effective teammates. Reflect. Finally, at the end of each day, I spend some time reflecting on how I worked with my team that day. Did I do or say anything that was less than positive or that didn't help move the team toward its goals? In other words, did I show up in the way that I wanted to? So this is probably it's a review about what you did at that day. It's kind of like a review for your day. You say how good you did or how bad you did. If you did it bad, you do it better next time. Something like that. Okay, I guess it's probably quite useful as a person who never knows those things before. I'll probably write it down as my notes so that I could follow those rules later as I'm still a teammate in a company. Alright, I guess for the English book, we'll read it with two parts since I don't feel really good about reading all those books in one video. That's kind of difficult for me. So I'll just read it with two videos. So I guess this is today's video and I see you guys in the next one. Bye.